I did that a lot because I heard it in my recordings a few times.
Yeah, it just, I guess, I don't know, maybe it's the whole ADD thing. You just can't keep still. You know. So anyway, hello and welcome to Tuesday Matinee number 8, presented by Ridgeview Drive and Age of Radio. Tuesday Matinee is a bi-monthly podcast where we review films, talk movie news, occasionally discuss the technical aspects of filmmaking, and just shoot the shit about all things cinema. I'm your host, Jared Watson, and today I have with me my brother, Brandon Watson.
Hey, how's it going?
And shit, it's been a few days now. Tuesday we saw the Lighthouse and we saw Jojo Rabbit. And before we get into it, I just from the top, like, which one did you prefer?
I think I liked Jojo Rabbit. I feel like I probably need to. I think I need to see Lighthouse again.
No, yeah, I'm very similar on that. I mean, I actually don't have an answer myself for which one I liked more, but
yeah,
because
there were aspects. I can say that there were definitely aspects of each movie that I appreciated more for, you know, each one for their own styles. Yes. I think just in terms of just pure entertainment, I guess I was a little more entertained, I guess, by Jojo, but at the same time, I don't know, I feel like the story and the narrative in The Lighthouse was probably better than Jojo in that. So it's I guess it's tough to say, but I was more entertained by Jojo, if that answers that question.
Think the problem for me is because we saw Jojo second, so it was more fresh in my mind. So it kind of like ended up overplaying Lighthouse because we saw it first. So then, like, what's the term I'm looking for? Criteria for whether I really like a movie or not is if I think about it a lot. And I actually thought about Jojo Rabbit a lot, well as like at work and stuff, and I didn't really think about the I felt like I wanted to think about the Lighthouse, but it's like, I think just since I saw Jojo second, it kind of overplayed it.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same. The things that there were a couple things I kind of thought about Lighthouse, but I didn't like stew in it as much, I think, as the same way I did with Jojo.
So we'll probably talk about the Lighthouse first and Jojo second. And I just want to remind everybody that Tuesday Matinee is spoiler free and will always be spoiler free unless it's for like an older movie. And we will probably during this discussion get into spoilers because I think there's some important stuff. So that will be cut out of the podcast itself, but you will be able to access those spoilers, that spoilery discussion, by heading to TuesdayMatinee.com to download it in a podcast type of form, or I will also be uploading it to the YouTube channel Tuesday Matinee. I'm sorry, RidgeviewDrive.com, and I'm hoping to upload the whole back catalog to Tuesday Matinee to that YouTube channel. So for the Lighthouse, I'm gonna try to have to remember a lot of what even happened in it.
Well, first, I think it was the thing that I had initially said. Coming out of the movie, maybe just some facts. Like I appreciated immediately I noticed that the aspect ratio was, what do you call it?
I thought it was 4:3, but I saw someone call it something else, so it may not have been exactly 4:3.
I just know that it definitely was very vertical feeling.
It's very square.
Very square, yeah. It compared to like widescreen, and it felt, because of that, immediately I just felt this claustrophobia.
Oh yeah.
Like, and it was beyond, like, even when they were on the boat. And then, my favorite shot of the entire movie is right at the beginning when both the actors are just staring into the camera.
Yeah.
And then the camera, pans over, with, I think that's even in the trailer.
Yes.
And the boat sails off. Oh, it's just, that was just such a really well done shot.
I think I will appreciate it more on the second watch, because on the first one, I didn't really know what was going on. I was like, what's he looking at?
At first, I was confused. I was confused at first, too. That's why I think it did something for me, because as I was staring at the ship, I was going, oh, they're watching the ship go away. And then it dawned on me, and it just made that shot really powerful to me.
Yeah, because now you get this feeling of, I'm here now. There's no going back.
Yeah, up until that point, I wasn't even really sure what was going on. I thought there was a bunch of people on the island or something.
Yeah, that whole time you're just kind of going.
Yeah, I was a little confused. I'll try not to reveal too much information because you need to just, I guess, watch it. But I had this, I had these assumptions, but as it goes on, you immediately at some point in the movie just, oh, okay, this is okay. These are these two guys, and it's about them being together,
Yeah.
And that's and it was really cool because of the aspect ratio was that immediately, you show this room and you realize this is where these guys are going to be spending most of their time,
Yeah.
and a lot of times with each other. And immediately starts off with, the guy, what's his name, by Willem Dafoe. I can't good. I was trying to bring up actors.
Oh,
I'm not actors' names, characters
names. I know.
So I could say him, and then I forgot to bring him up. But and he's peeing into the pan, and it just has this like uncomfortable like intimacy. You immediately get brought into these two characters, and I thought that was really cool. It's very effective at making me feel.
I think so too, because like there's an interview where someone asks the director about all the farting, and he responds with, "I'm pretty sure there was farting in the whatever century this takes place in," and I think that's one thing that made this movie so real is the fact that these are real people that go to the bathroom and take care of normal everyday stuff. But it's interesting now that I think about it that you mentioned that you couldn't remember his name, because I think that's actually a very big focal point of the movie is their names. You don't even find out their names till much later in the movie. And there's a little, not going to reveal anything, there's a little bit about one of their names very specifically.
Yes, no, you're right. Oh, I actually, that's why I want to watch the movie again, because that's the thing I wasn't even thinking about after the movie, because that was like a thing that I think they were trying to convey that's something to do with their names, and I didn't really pick up on exactly what they're trying to suggest there.
Yeah,
but it was interesting.
So, and to be honest, I almost don't even. I actually now remember both of their first names.
Oh, okay.
But I almost don't want to say it now because I think that's a focal point in the movie.
Yeah,
and I think that's something you should watch to learn and everything.
I agree.
Because in the beginning, I like Willem Dafoe's character refers to Robert Pattinson's character as Lad, and I don't know if Robert Pattinson even calls the other one anything.
Not really, because most of the points it's really William Dafoe's for a good portion of the movie. It's William Dafoe's character talking.
Yeah,
Robert Pattinson's character is just kind of being a silent, like, okay, all right, and because, and it's obvious that he's not really into all the things that William Dafoe's character is into. He's very like, I just want to do my job. I don't really care about anything else. Where William Dafoe's like, come on, let's do things. Let's drink. And and they have to like they kind of warm up to each other in that sense throughout the movie. But it's in a weird way, it's not and some some of them are like buddy movies, like when you think of like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, it's like first these characters are are at each other's, well, even though it's really more of Steve Martin's character, you see them kind of build like a friendship. They're building like a trust in a way, but I wouldn't call it a friendship from either side.
Well, it's interesting. I wouldn't even really use the word trust.
I know, but I think there are in some ways they do trust each other.
Well, when you live with someone else and like that's all you have, you have to get to some point of something, otherwise you're gonna go or
no, that makes sense. But while I do like some of the ways that it made you feel, it was a long, even though it wasn't a long movie, I did feel the length a little bit.
I'll have to admit I felt the length a little bit. It wasn't even, technically it's not even that long of a movie.
Right, I remember even
an hour 50.
Yeah, as we were coming in, you had said that. And I was thinking that, but as we were going, I thought it does feel the length a little bit. But I think that's also kind of plays into the discomfort, so I guess that works in a way, because you do almost feel like you're sitting in this lighthouse for eternity with these people, so it at least plays onto that discomfort, so I'll give it that.
There's even a little bit of a feeling of they add to it, because there's already this feeling of you're here forever, and then later on there's a little bit something added on where you really feel like you're there forever.
Yeah. Ugh. It's a when the turning point of the movie comes, it's really your stomach really starts to churn. Like it's like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
It's really there's a really gross feeling, and you start feeling like the tensions and everything a lot more, I think, at that point. And not just the way it was written, just because of what, the turning point of the movie.
Would you call this a horror movie?
It's got suspenseful elements. I think it's funny in ways. It's got like it does have some horror elements, but for most of the movie, it's really kind of thriller-esque, Well,
yeah.
Even a lot of the movie isn't even thriller. It's just building up of an environment and these characters for a good chunk of the time, and it's not even that. It's more of just mystery for a little bit. You're like, I don't know what's going on.
But then we're also getting into a lot of the semantics, because technically a thriller, if you go back and you look into the evolution of everything, a thriller is a horror movie.
Sure. Okay.
Unless, I'm sorry, that's not true. Psychological thriller is a horror movie.
Okay.
I'm sorry, not all thrillers are horrors. What's an example of some thrillers? Like, cop movies can be thrillers, but they're not horrors,
Oh, yeah.
Seven gets into the territory of it's definitely a thriller, but is it a horror,
Oof, that's actually kind of, I don't know. You may be able to make an argument Seven is actually a horror.
Dad says it's absolutely a horror.
Oh,
I've talked to lots of people that go, what? That's not a horror movie. But because
got a
it's
horror ending.
So we've done this twice now, where we have original horror movies, and then they kind of go off the rails, become silly, and they're not scary anymore. So they come up with this new genre where they tone everything down, and they called it psychological thriller. Well, no, it's just a horror movie. It's not like the 80s. The 80s horror movies were all silly and dumb, and like slashers, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, right.
And now we're doing it again with neo horror. Now we've gotten rid of the jump scares. And now so it's called a neo horror. It's like, well, no, it's just a horror, just like classic horror.
No, I see what you're getting at. Yeah, I definitely know that it's got horror elements. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not sure if that classifies it as a horror, but it may be.
Right. One thing I would definitely classify it as, and I don't know if a lot of people would agree with me, but it's a comedy.
Oh, yeah.
It's straight up a comedy. I mean, not I shouldn't say straight up.
Yeah, I was like,
that gives a certain feeling, like, oh, I'm going to go see Seinfeld. Well, no, it's
definitely got like off kilter, is that the word?
Yeah, or like
humor?
Sort of. I guess it's not really black humor.
No, it's not. There's some dark humor, I think, but it's not really a black humor. I think it maybe the situations are a little humorous.
Right.
But I think like a black humor goes out of its way to like make morbid jokes.
Yeah, that's really not there.
Yeah, that wasn't that.
Funny enough, it's like I would call this like somewhat of a sophisticated movie, but it's full of piss and fart jokes.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's fun. Yeah.
Even some dick jokes, I think.
Yeah.
But mostly I think that comedy relies on Willem Dafoe's character. Because like I said before, there were just times where like when he's just doing one of his rants, I just caught myself just smiling.
Yeah, especially his language. And he would just go on and on sometimes, and the words he would use, it was entertaining. Definitely when he would go on, he was definitely good.
Because he was like a very classic salty sailor.
Yeah, he had that.
In fact, and you even see the difference between the two characters, because he uses a lot of these like old style words and stuff, whereas Robert Pattinson's character doesn't so much.
Yeah,
but I think that's because he's from Oregon, Canada, something like that. Like he's from the Northwest.
Sounds right. Yeah.
So he actually says you. He says the word you, whereas Willem Dafoe's character says ye. Or is that what it is? Ye? I can't remember.
Something
yeah.
Like that.
So it's interesting. So a lot of people think it's the time periods that separate all that, and you got to remember, no, it's also geographical location, and sailors had a very specific way of speaking. And that was definitely Willem Dafoe's character.
Yeah.
Oh boy, is there much else to talk about?
Without getting into spoilers, I keep trying. I keep going,
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's... Oh. Because it's like, a lot of the movie is about discovering things, and it's like, well, if you just say it, then, it's not being discovered.
And I think this is definitely a movie that you would want to go in as blind as you can.
And I did. I didn't even see most of the original trailer. I think I stopped halfway through, so I really didn't know much about it all, and I think it was better because I got to like learn as the movie went on.
Yeah. All right. I guess. Okay. Well then. Let's just get into just like reviews. Would you recommend someone to see this movie?
Yeah. But I think it might depend on the person. I definitely know I could think of friends who I would just never ever suggest this to, but I could think I could definitely think of groups of friends that I would be like, hey, you like movies like this, I think it's a very intriguing movie. I don't think it's I was kind of going in expecting like more of a masterpiece kind of feel to it. I don't know how to explain it. I guess no one that's in itself subjective.
Yeah.
But I definitely liked it. But at the same time, I'm not thinking about like, oh, I got to show everyone this movie. I feel like it might depend on the audience if they like it. Unfortunately,
I was talking to someone about it, and they asked me, is this a movie I can go watch with my Christian mother? And at first I couldn't really think, and I was just like, well, the characters in it are Christians, and she, and he's like, oh, well, yeah, but do they make fun of Christians? I was like, well, no. Then all of a sudden I went, well, there's kind of a lot of masturbation. He's like, oh, okay, no.
Well, but it's not like, it's more of you expect, that that's what's going on.
Right, yeah.
But I guess that just being implying could be just because someone's Christian. I don't know. Like, it depends on the Christian. Like, are they like a really prude Christian, or?
Well, I mean, I think that's the basic idea. Like, no, I would say this movie's not for like prudish people.
Yeah. No, you're right. I agree with that. There's definitely themes and visuals and just things that are and like things that are suggested that are kind of, I guess. Yeah, I guess I agree with that.
Yeah, so I like myself, let's see, on my rating scores, I would say I definitely want to watch it again. So that means I give it for now, a matinee score. I would say I really liked it, but I feel like it might go up on my next watch.
Yeah.
Up to a Friday night or buy it.
I feel like my opinion could improve if I saw it again too.
Yeah. I really, I think it's just mostly, I mean, I don't know. Should you base your score on a movie if, like, how much you enjoyed on the first watch?
Yeah, it's tough to say. Because, well, that's subjective, because every once in a while I've seen a movie that I just didn't care at all for. And one day it was on TV or something, and I'm rewatching it, and I'm just like, wow, this is a really good movie. But that's also different. I've also grown up since a long time, so I don't know if I just know it's happened in the past where the first time I've seen a movie, I didn't really care for it. And the second time, my opinion greatly changed,
Yeah.
But this movie, I didn't say I didn't care for. I still liked it. I think I was expecting more, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt that way a little bit. I think I overhyped it for myself, to be honest. I really tried not to, but sometimes I can't help it.
It's always tough to, especially when it's from a director of something you've already really enjoyed.
Yes.
And with actors that you like, it's like, oh, this is gonna,
Yeah, speaking of that, because, he did the Witch. He did the same thing he did with the Witch. He did a lot of research.
Oh.
And he actually looked up, like, how people at that time that worked those types of jobs or lived in those types of places would talk. And he did all kinds of research on that kind of stuff. So it's like very historically accurate in that way in both of these movies. And it's not that like he does it because he just wants to make a good movie. He enjoys it. Like it's his passion. He loves to do that kind of research.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Nice.
Do you like to give star scores or rating scores, or do you just say like you really liked it or not?
I think when I was back into reviewing video games, I was big into the score system. No, not at the moment. Maybe at some point I'll come up with something, but I just say
you don't have to. Like that, some people that's their
know.
thing is like they don't like scores, and
sure.
that's perfectly reasonable way to go. Like I know Charles, he's trying to get away from the whole score system. That's why he's just kind of going like A, B, C, D, or E, kind of thing.
Sure.
Like yeah. The only reason I do it is just so when I put things up on IMDb or Letterboxd, I could actually like give a real like physical score, But other than that, yeah, for me it's just I think I really liked it. I think I'm on a second watch I might get up to I love it. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that is you assume things, and then you try to guess the ending or try to figure out what you think the movie's going to be about, and then when it's not that, you almost feel like let down,
Yeah.
And then you sometimes when you rewatch it, you go, "Oh, well, this is really what the movie's about," and then you do appreciate it in a different way.
Oh yeah, and that's happened to me many times.
Yeah, so that's always a possibility.
All right. So then, right after we saw The Lighthouse, we saw Jojo Rabbit, and I guess you really enjoyed that one?
Yeah. I think it's funny because Mom had talked to me and said, asked me, so you did enjoy that. She's like, but you see how I could have this, like, I think she said cognitive dissonance? Is that what she was talking about? I think. I understand what she's saying. But for me, I like the lighthearted aspect of the movie. I think the reason I did was because the story was, in my opinion, was told from the view of a child.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that was the point.
And there's just so much innocence there with the child. But real things happen in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just a cartoon. It's real shit happens. It's dramatic. And I think because that's how a kid would see it. There's certain things you'd see that are kind of flowery.
Right.
Real stuff happens, and it's how you deal with it. So, in my opinion, I think the lighthearted tone was just a really good storytelling device because it was told through the eyes of a child,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was basically the thing I wanted to just mostly start with, is that the idea that I think the reason I liked the movie was because of how it was told, how it was framed, and dealing with bias and racism and, having certain kinds of prejudices from an adult's standpoint and then from a kid's standpoint.
Yeah.
How those really differ and how easily you could become a certain person by how, those, by those around you.
Yeah.
And such.
And I think a huge point of the movie was the idea that these biases a lot of times just straight up come from misinformation.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of which comes out with like the interaction between the two characters.
Yeah.
I guess it's mostly known what the plot of the movie is, right? Like it's.
I think so.
That it's that there's that.
Yeah, just a kid, little boy in the Hitler Youth. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Who loves Hitler and has an imaginary friend who is Hitler. Discovers that his mother is hiding a little Jewish girl in the walls, of her house. And that's about as far as I would want to get with describing what the movie's about. So
right, yeah.
And just pretty much his interaction with his mother and the little girl, and his imaginary friend.
Which we should talk about, because Taika does, in my opinion, a phenomenal job playing Hitler. He's really fun.
Yeah. And
because of that, I think it's just so disarming, because he's supposed to be this,
exactly, yeah,
dictator. And I love it because it's basically how the boy views Hitler.
Exactly, yeah. And like I told you, Taika didn't do any research on Hitler. And he's like, I didn't need to. There's no point in it, I'm not going to give him the satisfaction of being researched. And two, it's a little boy's imaginary friend. You don't have to. It's not what Hitler actually was. It's how a little boy saw Hitler.
Exactly. Yeah. I liked that because he gains the strength of his opinion on this character. He doesn't, because of, he's kind of a different kid. Like, even among the Hitler youth. Yeah. He's a different kid, and he's obsessed with being the best Hitler youth and being Hitler's number one best friend, So because of this, he creates this character who's also seems almost like an empathetic, down-to-earth kind of person who just wants what's right and what's best for the world. But he uses this to justify his prejudice against, Jewish people. Yeah. But at the same time, he uses this imaginary friend to almost remove himself from the consequences.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think it's like, oh, I'm not necessarily biased against Jewish people. It's Hitler, but I'm just doing what Hitler says. But at the same time, I agree with everything Hitler says. But at the same time, not everything makes sense in this world when I talk to this Jewish girl, Yeah. Like, and he has this weird cognitive dissonance himself.
Right, it's interesting. I think you just kind of brought it back around, like Mom's saying, feeling the cognitive... I think that was the point of the movie. I think he wants you to feel cognitive dissonance. I think he wants you to feel deep emotions, I
think he wants to be uncomfortable with the idea of what's going on. And that, it makes you think. It forces you to think about the situation.
Yeah, and I think it, like, comes back around to... what was it, Sting? The song "Do the Russians Love Their Children Too?" Yeah. And I think that's the reason a lot of people have troubles with the movie. Like, we shouldn't be moralizing Nazis,
Oh, that's right. I forgot there was a big...
Yes.
There was a big thing, almost like Taika... They were trying to... people say that Taika almost... His character of Hitler almost led to a watering down of Nazism. Right. And almost making them empathetic people,
Yeah, and also not just him, but some other characters like...
Oh, absolutely.
What's his name?
Sam Rockwell?
Sam Rockwell's character.
I just want to say, though, it's funny because I love Sam Rockwell, and I liked the character that it was played, but I really wasn't the biggest fan of how Sam acted.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know. I didn't super buy it. I don't know.
Okay.
Just not my opinion. I usually really like it, but I don't know. I think some scenes were way better than others, but sometimes I almost felt like an American pretending to be a German sitting with his...
But then again, I think that was just a lot of this movie in general. Okay. Because, even though all the writing was in German and everything, but one thing that kind of pulled me out of the movie is they kept calling themselves Germans, and I was like, they don't call themselves Germans. They call themselves the Deutsch. They live in Deutschland. So, that kind of pulled me out. But I'm like, oh, but that's not what this movie is. It's not this historical, retelling of, these, the Deutsch in Deutschland. It's about how Americans see the Nazis. Huh. Or at least how the Americans see Germans.
Or at least the Ally, or, the people who weren't Germany see Germans.
Exactly. And with that controversy, there's the whole idea of that the Nazis weren't portrayed as the evil fucks they are, and it just, for me, it's kind of like, but we already kind of know that. We all know. We all learned the history, and maybe that's something that's dangerous coming up. Maybe the new generation won't, since they will be even farther away. Maybe they won't know how evil the Nazis were and stuff. I don't know. so maybe the movie won't age well in that aspect. But it's like, and I like putting certain characters because I can't say every single Nazi was an evil motherfucker. A lot of times they really were just following rules, and obviously I don't like that as an excuse. You know, I have my own political stance on Blue Lives Matter and all that shit. You know, just following the rules doesn't mean it's okay. You know, but at the same time, I think it's okay to moralize people and say that maybe, you know, there were other circumstances that they just couldn't do anything, you know. I don't know.
I could understand the position of not wanting to like make Nazis look better than they were, just because there's a fear of like a political movement growing, you know, off of something like that. And I understand, I get that, but at the same time, I don't necessarily feel like the movie did that.
That's another thing I was gonna say. Is these people didn't see the movie.
Yeah,
they mocked the shit out of Nazis.
Yeah, I feel like it was like we were just talking about with like, I almost feel like Sam Rockwell's character, that's his name, right?
Yeah,
I'm saying that right. Okay, was maybe that was part of the joke, was he was a caricature, you know, and in that sense, it's kind of making fun of Nazis, you know?
Oh yeah.
But I just want to say at the same time though, I like what you said, that there were still humans wearing those uniforms, you know, regardless.
Yes.
There were really evil people wearing those uniforms. Don't get me wrong. But there were some humans wearing those uniforms that were caught up in shit that maybe they still did the wrong thing by going with the flow, but I feel like we can empathize a little bit with some of these people, and I think it's okay to. I don't think that necessarily says, oh, that makes Nazism okay.
Right, yeah.
I think you're allowed to empathize with people in the movement and still go, okay, well, you know, they still did some really bad things. And, you know, and I don't want to spoil anything, but I feel like it does a good job of still kind of saying they were Nazis, you know?
Yeah. But another thing I was going to say, how they really mock the Nazis, is Stephen Merchant's character, oh shit, what are they called? You know, the group of people that go around searching the homes.
Oh, the Gestapo.
Yes, the Gestapo. Like that whole, everything around them was just a joke. The way that every single time they ran into someone, it was Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler. You know, they just every single time, you heard that phrase said like 30 times in less than a minute.
Oh, that's another thing I do like about the movie. It's just that I don't know if this is actually true. Was it basically like hello in Nazi Germany?
I guess so.
Because that's the way they treated it in this movie. That like you see someone, you go Heil Hitler, and they say Heil Hitler back to you, and it's just. I don't know if that's actually real, but it was comedic to a Westerner at least.
Now maybe that's one of my questions. I don't know. Maybe to like the Jewish community, maybe that term Heil Hitler, maybe it's seen as the N-word, like it's offensive. I don't know. I wouldn't know that.
And if that that's an interesting thought, but I feel like the way they used it was
like the whole
super mocking.
Yeah, and maybe they were trying to do it, the whole idea of like how they say the more you use an offensive word, the less offensive it is. Sure. And maybe it was one of those situations because they say it a lot, and it's very funny because it's obvious, like it's not funny because it's being said. It's funny because it's just how stupid it is that they have to say this constantly over and over and over again. You know, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, I can see that. And speaking of like, because there's a lot of absurdity in this movie. I think that's a big part of Taika's style is absurdity.
Oh yeah.
And can we just talk about Jojo's friend? Like his the kid with the glasses. Oh my god! Every fucking time he was on screen, I feel like he just stole the show. I really did. I feel it was just, and he was so perfect because he was the connection to the Nazi youth group was his friend. So every time he was in the scene, he was like, all right, well, this is what's going on right now. And it was just like, oh, okay. You know, and it was, he was just, his timing was good. His character always was like talking about really like serious adult concepts, like deadpan. And he would just deliver them, like, just boom. And it was just like, oh, okay. And he was just like, well, this is what's going on, and this is what everyone's telling me, so whatever, you know?
I think it was also, when they were together, was just a good selling point of, these are just children.
These are just kids.
Yeah.
Because when they were talking, the dialogue was just so immature.
Yeah. Whereas, like, the, I can't remember her name, but the Jewish girl, like, she was a little older.
Yeah.
So, and obviously, you know, she's on the run, otherwise she's going to die. So her conversations might be a little bit more darker and dour, and not, because, like, when you're, like Anne Frank and them, like, their childhoods were stolen away. For Anne Frank, obviously, literally and physically, but, like, for this girl, stolen away in such a way because, like, she'll never be able to become a kid again, even if she escapes. So like, it's, like, in a way showing, like, in these times, that's what happens. Like, you have children, but they can't be children. And maybe that's how they become evil fucks. I don't know.
Yeah.
By having their childhood taken away from them.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that's a big part of the movie is Jojo trying to grow up. So it's, in a way, it's, what does it mean to be an adult, you know?
Yeah.
And for a while, he doesn't understand. And I think through talking to this Jewish girl, he completely it's like he realizes he's been misunderstanding what it means to, like, you know, do the right thing or do the mature thing, you know? It's obviously he's just a kid. It's so obvious when he talks to her every time. It's like, whoa, you know?
Yeah.
I think I really liked what's her name? Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, yes.
I feel like her character did really well. And the actress obviously played her really well, I think. But I think the character just was a good piece, and you know, the way she shows her empathy and such, you know. And it's funny because it's like the mother shows a little more empathy than Jojo, and the mother is the one who raised Jojo. But you know, maybe that's part of the idea of the Nazi youth camps and the whole Hitler's propaganda is that he can take children's minds out from under the parents.
Right, yeah.
Which was a big part of the propaganda campaigns in Nazi Germany.
I love how they straight up used the word propaganda.
Yeah.
Can you go hang up this propaganda across town? I love that. Because again, like I said, it's not realistic. They use the word Germany when those people would never use that term. They use the word propaganda when they would never use that term. It's kind of what.
Well, they're trying to be on the nose too.
Yeah,
yeah. They were like, I think, you know, purposely, like, it's satirical in many senses. But yeah, and you know, the whole, I think even Mom brought this up, like, the set pieces were almost fantasy-like, even though they were in the middle of a war.
Oh, yes.
But I felt like that was part of it. It was like, it's kind of like the difference between, like that Scrubs episode, you know, when they go, they change the lighting around to be like, like
a sitcom.
Like a sitcom.
Yes.
In a way, I feel like that lighting existed, throughout the movie, but I liked it because I felt like there was always this barrier, almost saying this is a set. Like, they wanted this to be like, this is supposed to be a caricature of the reality. I feel like that was the whole, in my opinion, they were constantly slapping me in the face saying this is a caricature.
Right,
you know?
yeah.
So to me, when people take offense to, you know, how they portrayed, I think, the characters, I obviously take the opposite stance and say that well, I think you missed the point of the movie, man. I think the point of the movie was to say that, you know, we can fall into some really dark political ideologies even as a child with this child and all this innocence, and then, you know, just I don't even know where I was going with that. Just saying that it's like it's trying to constant reminder though that man, I you know, I'm gonna have to think about this more because I do wonder about Taika's style, because I know that I see a lot that a lot of people are weirded out by it. But I personally like it. But I can't really put into words exactly why.
Yeah.
It's hard, actually. Now that I'm really trying to nail it down, I'm like, I just like it at the moment. So I guess I'll have to watch more of his work, and maybe I can come out with a more concrete answer why I think it works to use this lighthearted tone on such a serious topic, for me.
Right.
Because obviously it doesn't work for everyone.
Yeah. It's interesting because, because I guess, the idea that, that we can't moralize these people, because, we even had before that movie, remember the trailer? And there was a trailer played about a guy who refused to be a Nazi. Do you remember that trailer? He goes to prison or whatever. 'Cause he lives in Germany, and they're like, you must follow our orders, and he's like, no, I don't.
Oh, right, yeah.
So it's like that kind of goes in the opposite route, like be that guy type of thing. Always be the guy that rises up when nobody else will, type of thing. And the thing is, my opinion is, I don't think everybody can. I don't think just because you failed to rise up against everything doesn't mean you're a terrible person. It just means that there's something really shitty going on right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think some of the characters even kind of showed it in the movie.
In fact, I think, to be honest, this movie kind of gave me some interesting thoughts on what we're going on. I don't really want to get into politics, but
sure.
Right now in our own system, and how it's tough. Like, there's certain supporters, and they say if you're that kind of supporter, you can never be a good person, and I started to kind of fall into that camp. But this movie kind of made me think I gotta moralize people sometimes, that maybe they're just in a bad spot, bad situation, and it's not. They can't really see the whole picture and why the person they support isn't a good person, So I don't know. Because I've actually had some friends, but...
Yeah, I know I've lost some friends through disagreements in politics, and sometimes I wish I didn't take such a, tough stance against them, even though I disagree so hardly with them sometimes, so...
Right.
Yeah, that's tough. That's really tough. But I think this movie does kind of show that you can humanize some people, but maybe people disagree with me on that. But I mean, just that you can humanize anyone, including Nazis.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting topic. I think it should be out there a little bit more. I don't know. I guess. Well, anyway, I don't know. I think this is getting into a whole conversation for something else.
So. Oh yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. So, last thoughts then. Would you recommend this movie, and like how high do you personally?
I definitely would recommend this movie. Again, I guess I'm not much for ratings, but I would say
you could just say you like it, you really liked it.
I really liked it, and I think if you can see it in theaters, I'd say see it in theaters. Honestly, I think it's a great. I wanted to say if you can see Lighthouse, but Lighthouse is a lot harder to see, it seems. But or is Jojo also?
They're both. I swear to God, I thought Jojo Rabbit was going to be a wide release. It was only open those 2 theaters in L.A. Just like Lighthouse.
Wow.
Okay. What's it called? Parasite had a bigger release. It was in like 5 or 6 theaters in L.A. And that one is considered an extremely limited release. So I don't know what that's all about.
Yeah, well, I'd just say if you can see it in theaters, to do so. I think it's got the comedy, it's got the heart, it's just, I think it's a good story. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say I don't necessarily want to see it again, but I'm willing to see it again with like new people, just for like the conversation. So I give it a $1 theater discount Tuesday. I liked it.
All right, nice.
So then we'll go ahead and move on. Is there anything you've watched in the last... Well, actually, it doesn't even matter when's the last time you've been on the podcast? Is there anything you just seen recently, movie, TV show, that you've just liked? Or very much disliked? It could be that too. That like you hated so much, or maybe it was so bad that you ended up liking it.
I feel like I did just see something. Oh, what was it? Where was it? Man, I'm blanking right now.
You're what?
I'm blanking at the moment. I know there was a movie that I watched, I think, while I was babysitting Gabe's dog. I'm
Oh, okay.
I'm completely blanking right now. Maybe that's a movie I watched.
God, have I watched anything? I know I have. I need to fucking write this shit down. I'm so bad. I feel like I've watched something, but I just can't remember. All right. Well then, this is something I want to do with whenever I have a guest on the show. I didn't do it with you last time because I didn't really know exactly if I was doing it or not. But this idea is any TV show, any movie, anything like that, from any part of time, just something that was maybe fallen off the radar, or never showed up on the radar, just doesn't get enough love, that you would want to recommend to people. There's something that just you really loved and you just want more people to see that maybe they probably haven't seen.
I'm just going to be annoying and say what I always say, because even though it's critically acclaimed and somehow millions of people have watched it, yet every time I talk to anyone in real life about it, no one has seen it, is The fucking Wire.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's a good one.
It's just... And the reason... And the reason why I like it is because, okay, so many people love Game of Thrones. The Wire is Game of Thrones with realism. It's the first bit of Game of Thrones. It's funny because I think at first when people got into Game of Thrones, they thought it was about dragons and wizards and shit. But no, it has nothing to do with any of that. It had to do with politics and social interaction. That's why a lot of the show at the beginning was, two people sitting in a room talking to each other. It was because it was taking, these two characters. Now, if these two characters are in the room, now how would they interact? Now, if these two characters are in the room, now how would they interact? Now, how does this affect the plot?
Right.
That's The Wire. The Wire. The problem is it's not all fancily dressed with, like I said, wizards and dragons and magic and all that fun before Cars stuff. But it's a really good. It's a good way of showing that people aren't black and white. It's very good gray storytelling. Yeah. Because you have the cops, you have the people who do the actual law, like judges and politicians and lawyers and such, and then you have people who are kind of like gray criminals, like people who just kind of do things for themselves, but aren't really hurting a lot of other people as much. And then you got a little bit harsher criminals that are violent towards other people, but at the same time you question whether or not, like, well, are they bad people? And then you have some really dark, horrible, twisted people, and then you have the really light, light as in like light and dark characters who are like almost good, but at the same time, the people you think are the evilest and the best, or the the highest morality, at some point do something that's completely, different than what you expect because they're human. I think the reason why I like The Wire so much is just because it's about humans interacting in a world where we have motivations, interests, and fear. Lots and lots of fear. How do people, and it's just one of the most realist retellings. I love Law and Order. Like, God, I watch the shit out of Law and Order. Yeah. Like every single one. Every single like the original Law and Order, SVU, like I've watched them all. But at the same time, there's always this sense that cops are the good guys. Yeah. And the bad guys are the bad guys. Right. It's easy to say that because they're pretty much the bad guys. There's no other term for
every
them.
once in a while you get like someone who you think is a bad guy, but they were either framed or something. But the good guy, I mean, the cops are always the good guys,
right? And even then, it's like, well, then he just was never really one of them. It's almost like, okay, then he was, he's not one of, it's almost a No True Scotsman thing where it's so I love Law and Order, but it's super bathed in righteousness of the cops.
Yeah.
And I feel like The Wire does this incredible job at saying cops are just people. They're people with guns. And yeah, some of them are way better than I think maybe just some random good guy with a gun because of their training and their professionalism. But at the same time, you recognize that they're people with motivations, interests, and fears like everyone else. And I think that's a really good way of showing that off. Yeah. And at the same time, showing, because I think I was super anti-cop, right before I watched this. So I think it helped. Yeah. At the same time, there were some things that made me go, ha-ha! Yes! Cops do blink! But at the same time, I go, they're human. Yeah. They're human. So when I used to write off certain cops like, he killed that guy, fuck that guy. At the same time, when I saw it from The Wire, I went, okay, maybe there were other intentions there, and maybe I won't go full hard on a cop just because he killed someone.
Yeah, you said full hard on.
Full hard on, yeah. So I think it's good. I just like The Wire because I think it's a really great storytelling. It's great. It's showing characters' motivations, and they're really compelling stories. They're not just good characters. These are damn good, compelling stories too. So if you have any time, try to make it through the first few episodes, because it's slow. It's slow, but so is Game of Thrones, goddammit. The first season of Game of Thrones is so slow, but everyone else got through it. There's a dragon. You can get through The Wire. Trust me. And it's worth it. It really, really is worth it. And it never gets to Daenerys season 8. That doesn't happen. The show ends on a great note. Some may say that the last season is probably...
Well, does it feel like it was canceled early, or does it feel like it actually makes an
arc? No, they wrote the ending.
Oh, shit,
They wrote it out.
That actually makes me want to finish it.
It feels like it was written to the end. Like, it wasn't like, okay, we're on our last leg, let's just write the end, blah, blah, blah. No. It has an ending.
Oh, okay. I don't think I knew that.
In a way that shows have an ending, but in the way that life ends, no, obviously. It's got a very continuous feel to it, which I think is really good.
All right, cool. Yeah, it's a good one. I know. I still haven't watched it. I need to watch it. I'm just so bad with shows, Like, God, I need to get back into Breaking Bad, and I'm not looking for... I'm not looking forward to it just because it's daunting. Not because I love Breaking Bad. I know I'd enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Because I remember, when I wanted to... Because I started watching Supernatural, not for any specific reason, just because I was like, it's a new show to watch. I had no interest in finishing it or whatever. And then, when I got to season 2, the end of season 2, for me, it really felt like... It felt like they ended the arc of why the show started in the first place. They really, they had a reason for starting it, and then they ended it. They finished that off, right? So I was it just kind of, put me out from continuing. And then at one point, I was like, you know what? I really like that show. I want to continue it. And then I saw how many fucking seasons there were, and for the fact that it's still going, yeah. And I
didn't even know that.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think they're on the last. They're finally on their last season, I believe. Shit. Either that or last year was their last season. And I was like, this is so fucking daunting. I don't know if I could ever start this back up again. The idea that I have to go through all of that, How long is The Wire? How many seasons?
I'm actually not 100% sure. 5 seasons.
That's not too bad. How many episodes would you say? Do you know?
I believe the episodes are long, but each season has about what episode? Here we go. That's 13 episodes. So they're long episodes, and it seems like they're about 13 episodes.
Oh, okay. So it's still somewhat long.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't say that it definitely has some length. It absolutely does. But I obviously think it's very worth it.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. It's funny because all the famous ones, it's funny how all the famous ones, die like in a what do you call that? Like an explosion of horror. It's like I mean, just because they get bad. Like Game of Thrones. I remember when Dexter was showing when it first started, and everybody's like, "Wow, the guys, seriously, this show was amazing. It's really good." And then those last few seasons, you're like, "What is this shit?" Like it just goes to full schlockville, you know. And not just schlock. Schlock could be good, but bad schlock. All right, I guess I will go ahead and move on to news. There's not much news, at least not from what I've seen. I haven't really done a lot of looking. So Jonah Hill was going to... They were in talks of him being in the new Batman movie with Robert Pattinson. They wanted him to either play Riddler or the Penguin. To be honest, I have a feeling they wanted him to be Penguin, and he probably wanted to be the Riddler. He's Jonah Hill, the fat guy, you know, so like, oh, he's got to be the Penguin. I think he would have been great as either. He dropped out. So he's not going to be in it.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah, that's probably... I'm wondering if that's why. I don't know. This is just speculation.
Man, Jonah Hill's lost a ton of weight, too. He's not even fat.
I know. Just that's how they... That's how people see him. Yeah. And I've already said this before, but like, you know, whenever I make a recommendation for something that's fallen under the radar, the show that he was... Maniac with him.
I still haven't seen that. I do want to see that.
What's her name? Emma Stone.
Emma Stone.
It's so good. Anyway, Paul Dano is now in as the Riddler. I love Paul Dano. He's in movies. He's the... Wait, did you see There Will Be Blood?
No.
I'm pretty sure... Is he the kid in Saved? No, it's not Paul Dano. That's Patrick Fugit. I can't remember what else Paul Dano is in. Oh, is it Little Miss Sunshine? I think he's the brother in Little Miss Sunshine. The one that wants to be a fighter pilot.
Oh, yes. Definitely.
Even though I don't associate him with that for some reason. Anyway, I love Paul Dano. He's amazing. Oh, he was in... What else
has he been in?
He was in, did you see... with Daniel Radcliffe, Swiss Army Man.
Oh, no, that was him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I like that movie.
And I think he did, just by his performance in There Will Be Blood, I think he could be a great Riddler. I want to see him go off the rails of being just kind of this crazy dude, you know? I think it would be great.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Jason Alexander has come forward since Jonah Hill dropped out, and he said he wants to play the Penguin. I think that would be interesting. It would be weird, but it'd be...
I'm intrigued.
Has he even been in anything lately? The last thing I know of was Shallow Hal, where he plays the character with the tail.
Holy shit, you're right.
I don't know if he's done it. I'm sure he probably does character actor stuff. I don't know. And then... I don't know how I feel about this one, because I'm on both sides. Because I'm still on the fuck Quentin Tarantino train when it comes to certain things. But I'm also on the fuck China train. China wants to, not because of the not Tokyo, that's Japan, the Hong Kong thing, just because of how they are with movies.
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, you haven't seen it yet, right?
No.
Well, there's a scene with Bruce, you know, the martial arts actor, Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee. Yeah.
Duh. He's in it. I mean, his character, somebody plays him in it, and apparently it comes off as racist. I have my own opinion on that. But anyway, it's banned in China because of that. And Quentin Tarantino refuses to recut the movie. So it's like, I kind of am against both sides, just because I kind of want to go, yeah, fuck yeah, Quentin, you show them, but at the same time, I'm like, fuck Quentin Tarantino.
Fair enough.
I don't know. But yeah. Other than that, I don't have any other news. That's all I got for that.
Yeah, I can't think of anything right now. Movie news.
And you asked earlier, like, what's coming out. Let's see. It's already out, but do you have any interest in seeing Jay and Silent Bob reboot? It looks
It's out?
so bad. Yeah. I think it was a very limited release.
Oh, I mean, I'll see it just because I watch everything.
It looks really bad. Oh, of course, I'll see it just because it's the View SQ universe, and it's just going to continue on the story. Clerks, too. The more I think about it, the more I think that movie was really bad.
Yeah, I was really excited about it the first time, but
it doesn't have the same spirit as Clerks 1. I don't know how to explain it.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and this just looks bad, but Zombieland 2, are you interested in that?
I really like Zombieland 1, but so far it seems like the reviews are very middle of the road.
Oh, I haven't even looked up the reviews. That's usually what I do. It just kind of looks... It looks like sequelitis. It's just...
Yeah, it does.
They're doing a thing I haven't seen in a while. Where they used to do this in all the Disney sequels, where each character gets their doppelganger, usually in the opposite gender. They're doing that with all of them, and I'm like, ugh, really? Maleficent, gonna skip that. I never even saw the first one.
Jesus,
but
it's doing well in theaters though. It's the sequel.
Yeah.
I really wasn't even interested in the first one, but I don't know. I might see it just to see it.
I was interested because I love the aesthetic, but then I heard a lot of reviews, and it just didn't really seem like it was for me. I like the idea of humanizing her. That sounds great, but apparently they just didn't do it.
Oh, no, I agree with that. I've always been interested in that premise, I think. But
But that's not why they did it. They only did it because everybody loves Maleficent, and believe me, I'm one of those. Maleficent is my favorite Disney villain.
Yeah.
But that's the only reason they did it, is because they knew they could make some money off people's love for her.
Off the name, yeah.
Yeah.
Not necessarily creating a cool, deep, morally gray, story. No, fuck that.
And speaking of making movies based upon what they know they can make money off of, you already pointed out that it's obvious the current war is based off because Tesla and Edison is a meme,
Yeah.
And
yeah.
It looks like it could be good, but it also looks like it could be bad. It's got high production value, and it looks like they're probably rewriting some story. They're probably, changing the history a little bit.
Oh, right.
I don't know for
licensing,
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm...
Yeah, I like the actors, so...
Oh, yeah, I adore all the actors.
So I guess it's possible.
If it gets good ratings, I'll try to see it in the theater. If it gets subpar ratings, I'll probably try to watch it at home at some point.
Fair enough. Okay.
Download it or YAR it. No.
Terminator Dark Fate doesn't look interesting to me.
Nope. Well, it looks like it has real potential. The story sounds like crap to me. Well, no, even that seems interesting, but...
I liked the idea of them all getting together. It's just isn't this supposed to be another universe or something?
Well, it's just like every other one that's come out in the last 10 years. They're retconning without retconning.
Yeah.
They're retconning by saying it's still canon because it's a different timeline. And that's how they keep doing this.
Oh.
This one, it retcons everything, even the second one. What? It retcons them all, except for the first one.
That's why?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
They're even retconning the second one, yeah. That didn't even happen. Or at least in this timeline. That's how they get away with saying it's all still canon.
Well, that actually kind of makes me interested in seeing it, to be perfectly honest.
My only curiosity is, why is it now there's a new little girl that's being hunted down? I guess just they're gonna it went so far that now there's a new resistance or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Motherless Brooklyn. Do you know anything about that?
Nope. Never even heard of it.
It's why can't I think of his name?
Oh.
Death to Smoochie. Fight Club. What's his name? Edward Norton.
And Bruce Willis? Wow.
Oh, it's got an all-star cast. It's Edward Norton's passion project. He wrote it.
Oh, this is that.
Yeah, he wrote it, he directed it, and he's starring in it.
Oh, he's starring. Okay.
Yeah. I believe it's a film noir. It looks really interesting. I don't have much faith in his writing. as of right now. But it'll I don't know. We'll have to see. It's not out yet, right? No, that's November 1st.
Right.
Though the ratings might be out. Does that have anything?
62%.
Ooh, really? Wow. That's low.
Motherless Brooklyn's imposing length requires patience, but strong performance and unique perspective make this a mystery worth investigating. How long is it?
Come on.
How do you find out the length?
There we go. You Google it.
144. Ooh.
Oh, an hour for... No, I'm sorry. 144 minutes.
Yeah, so 220.
Ooh, that is
That is a lengthy one.
a little bit of length. Let's see. Let me just look up Metacritic real quick. See what... Whoops. So I'd much rather know. Oh, Metacritic has a to be determined, so...
Yeah, we'll see. As more reviews come out.
Oh, no, it says 62. Wow, that's a little disappointing. Usually by now it won't change much, but we'll see. Maybe it'll change more, but... So that makes me not really... Because I don't really want to go out of my way to see it unless it's got really high ratings. Or, otherwise I'll just watch it at home. Don't know what those movies are. Doctor Sleep. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, that's the one. It's The Shining.
Yeah, it's a sequel to The Shining. It looks actually pretty good.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
It has the same look as the original. Honey Boy. I thought that was already out. I didn't even know that hadn't come out yet. But the one.
Yeah, I really want to see Honey Boy.
Shia LaBeouf. That looks really interesting.
I'm really interested in that.
I don't know what Last Christmas is. Midway, I'm assuming it's about the Battle of Midway, so I don't really care. Not really a war movie fan. Charlie's Angels, it looks dumb enough to see.
Yeah, maybe.
It looks bad, but it looks almost like it's dumb enough to see. The Good Liar, I don't know what that is. Ford versus Ferrari, I didn't ever even heard of it until we saw the trailer the other day.
Yeah, I hadn't either.
It doesn't look great. It looks interesting. I like the historical aspect of it.
Obviously, I like the actors, but I don't know. I'm not sure because I'm just not a big car guy, you know.
Oh my God, is there really a Frozen 2 coming out?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
The trailer came out last year, I think.
It's complete news to me. Oh boy. 21 Bridges. If that's the one I'm thinking, I'm not 100% sure if it is. I don't know how to feel about it. It's about this guy kills a cop. So they have he's a specialist that comes in to find cop killers because his dad, who was a cop, was murdered. And they're in I'm so bad. I don't know any cities in New York. I just know it's a specific island, so they could technically cut it off. So cut off all the subways, cut off all the bridges. He can't get out. We're gonna find him. So I like the aspect. It's a thriller. It seems interesting, but the trailer doesn't make it look too good. I don't know. Maybe it will be. Knives Out. Have you seen any trailers for that? It's the one with it's an all-star cast, and it's Clue. It's the one where it's it's a it's a murder mystery.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Another one where it looks like it could be great or it could be awful.
Yep. Agreed.
Or it could be middle of the road.
Wow. Or it could be somewhere in between there.
Yeah. It could be anywhere in the spectrum of good to bad.
Ooh. Now I'm intrigued. Maybe I do want to see it now.
You don't know anything about Queen and Slim, do you?
No.
It looks really interesting to me. It's about these two people. They literally just met. I think they find each other on Tinder or something like that. It's I don't usually point this out, but it's important to the story. They're two black people, a woman and a man, and they meet for a date. And then while they're out in the car, they get pulled over, a scuffle happens, and they shoot the cop. Yeah. And now they're on the run. And they're just I think this is just our life now. We're just on the run. And all these, they keep coming in contact with all these people you're safe here. You could stay here. we like what you did kind of thing, we support you, and so they're just on the run. They're just constantly being like housed by people that want to help them and stuff, and they're like they're called like the Black Bonnie and Clyde. It looks really interesting to me. I'm really intrigued.
I am interested.
The Aeronauts, I don't know much about it. That's Nicholas Hoult. It looks exactly like the same aesthetic as the current war. Like, exact same aesthetic. It's the same time period, same coloring and everything. And it's about a hot air balloon. Like, they're making hot air balloons work or something.
Oh, okay.
Jumanji. Oh my god, I can't believe they made another one. It looks bad.
Yeah, I liked the first one that came out, but it seems like now they're gonna
milk it.
Yeah, it seemed like before it was kind of like every time there was a Jumanji movie, it was just kind of like a restarting,
Yeah.
And I kind of liked that. It's almost like an anthology of people who have to deal with the Jumanji thing, but now it's almost like
if they did it in like an anthology way, that would have been kind of cool. And that's kind of how it was in the beginning with the original Jumanji and then Zathura. Yeah. Like, do that. Have like that would have been cool.
But now they're going down this path where they've decided this video game.
We're keeping the same. They're not even. They're the same actors, but not the same characters.
Yeah.
Sort of, but not really.
Yeah. So it's like they're cheating. They're like, oh, but it is different. That's we're.
It's more like a vehicle for those actors to work on their acting chops, so they could play different characters yet look exactly the same.
Yeah, and just, keep the same cast, because anytime you keep a cast, it's more likely to just get viewers. But it's also, in my opinion, a cheap way of...
Yeah.
The way this was working, it felt like it should just be a different movie every time. Not a different movie, but, have a very different feel than the last one. But now it feels like this movie's going to be kind of just the same as whatever we just saw, I think.
Yeah. Wow, Black Christmas. Is it going to be the same thing? Are they remaking Black Christmas?
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's a classic horror movie. I don't remember if Santa himself is evil or it's just a murderer dressed like Santa, but it's a horror. A Hidden Life. That's the one about the German who refuses to be a Nazi.
That's right.
It's made by... Well, fuck me, I can't remember his name. He's a pretty famous indie director who makes, like, really good movies.
Cool.
And then Uncut Gems, the Safdie Brothers movie with Adam Sandler.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so excited for that.
That one actually looks good to me. Yeah, it's first time in a long time I've seen something with Adam Sandler that I'm excited about.
And I guess we've seen them all. Might as well wrap up the series and see Rise of Skywalker. I mean, at this point...
You're right, I'll see it too.
I guess of the main series, I still haven't seen any of the offshoots. I think I saw the end of Han or Solo.
I haven't seen Rogue One or Han's. This funny, so all my friends all were talking about how amazing Rogue One was, and then I think it's just because they're all nerds. Because
yeah,
because then when I looked online, it seems like everyone else is like, yeah, it's a kind of shit movie.
Yeah.
Other than, I guess... the one thing I heard is the very last sequence movie is actually incredible.
Oh, because of Vader?
I don't know why. I just heard there's just... the apparently the action, just everything, like, just the last, I can't think of the word, the last... Anyway, yeah, part of it.
Last act?
Thank you. Is apparently just that. If that was the whole movie, people were like, "Oh, that would go if it was like released as a short movie on fucking YouTube or something," But everything else about that I've read is like, "Oh, it's just drawing out what's supposed to happen at the end,"
Yeah.
But I can't really say a lot because I haven't seen it. Maybe I should. Maybe I will.
So I don't know. I kind of want to do something for this one. I kind of want to get a group together and go see Cats.
Yes. Well, we don't drink together anymore.
I know. That's like my thing. Is like, God, I wish I still drank just for that.
Well, we're in California, taking edibles.
Oh, I was about to say, we could do some acid. I'm like, oh, this movie? No, this movie looks terrifying for acid.
Oh man.
I don't know what Bombshell is. 1917 sounds familiar, but I don't know what it is. Yeah, so, I mean, I skipped a bunch of movies just because I don't know what they are. So I guess, we'll be coming to the end of this podcast. Was there anything you wanted to talk about, movie or TV related, or even video game?
I'm enjoying It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia lately. I don't know, and it's funny because it's not even like every episode is like amazing. It's just that there's just enough good content that keeps me wanting to come back. Like the one episode where it's all one. I don't know if the whole episode's one shot, but it feels like one episode.
That's such a great episode. It's faked to be one shot.
Okay. Just there's a couple times that it looks like they could have cut there, you know. But anyway, regardless, it's done so damn well. Yeah. So it's just they have enough. I like the show because they have good. It's not like they have one shtick, you know. Yeah. They have the one with it's really well edited, and then there's the one where I'm going through like a million different episodes in my head because they do so much random shit, but it's I just like that they don't stick to one formula. I think is what makes the show really entertaining. And then I'm also really I just got to the end of it, unfortunately, but Brooklyn Nine-Nine, when I first started, I was actually kind of bored with it. I was just like, I don't really care about this.
So because it's kind of how I feel a little bit.
Yeah, when I first started, it was just boring. It was just like, this is just another Parks and Rec office show. It didn't feel like it had any soul to it, but I kept going with it, and I end up liking some characters more than any of the characters in The Office or Parks and Rec. Oh yeah. I think Captain Holt is one of the coolest, most interesting character on a sitcom right now. Yeah. Yeah, I think Brooklyn Nine-Nine takes a little warming up, but when you do, I think it's a great show. I think it's a legitimately great show.
All right. Okay, then I guess I'll go ahead and wrap things up. For more movie-related content, head on over to ridgeviewdrive.com for reviews, shorts, and more. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Ridgeview_Drive and Facebook at Ridgeview Drive Productions. You can find me on those social medias at DarkJackWolf. Can they find you at any of those, at anything?
We did start something, but I haven't really
done anything with it.
I haven't done anything with it lately. So for now, no.
Okay,
I am just Brandon.
You don't have anything to plug or anything?
Not at the moment, no. I'm just Brandon. Maybe at some point I will.
Okay. We are on Patreon. You can, for the $15, the $30, and the $50 tiers, have the ability to request specific reviews once a month at patreon.com/RidgeviewDrive. Charles has pointed out before that the $50 tier gets him on webcam. I don't know what that implies, but that's his thing. Just get with him on that. You can also request reviews at coffee.com/RidgeviewDrive/commissions. That's KO-FI. Another way you can support us is by visiting our page on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or just about any other podcasting platform and giving us a rating. It could really help get us some recognition. You also don't have to be selfish and keep us all to yourself. Tell your friends and your family about us. Maybe they would like to listen. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Tuesday Matinee. Go check out one of the films we recommended, and have a nice day.
Bye!